home, like I said, it can save you so much money. But before I start cooking at home, it was so much money that I was going out spending, because a lot of times what you really have to realize is that not only are you really paying for the food, but you're actually paying for the atmosphere and the service and the ambiance of being in the restaurant. So today we have Tanya from My Fork in Life, and it's so amazing to have her here. And I'm just super excited because not only am I an interviewer and having a conversation with her, I am actually a follower as well. Because one thing, by being able to cook at home, I love Tanya's page so much because she has easy and flavorful recipes that even someone like me can do. Whenever I say someone like me, I grew up learning how to cook here and there, but we're talking about like steak and a lot of different recipes from your air fryer and also your Instapot as well. So Tanya, how is everything looking with the audio on your end?
I think I fixed it.
Awesome, awesome. So Tanya, can you just tell everyone about your channel and a little bit about My Fork in Life and where they can find you?
Sure. So My Forking Life is basically a website that I created back in 2016. And back then I was working full time as an attorney, and I really could not cook initially. I was kind of just, making whatever I could find and just trying to basically just cooking anything that was edible, but it wasn't anything that we really enjoyed. So just around actually in 2011, I became really into cooking and just finding different ways to make simple meals, but that didn't sacrifice on flavor. And so in 2016, that's when I decided that I was, learning all these things. And I was so excited that I wanted to go ahead and share that with the world. So I started the blog called My Forking Life.
Okay, so that had to be a great and interesting, should I say, conversation that you were practicing law. So I know a lot of times that people may go from the courtroom to just like consultation. So what inspired you to take the route for going to a food blog versus another arena or another area?
Just based off my passion, I know I wanted to do something outside of just going to work and taking care of my family. And I had thought of different things. I considered doing a finance blog, but I'm not passionate about finances. So I ended up just deciding, you know what, I'll do a food blog. And I initially started out doing recipes and also restaurant reviews. But over time, I started to realize that I really enjoyed cooking and just kind of like talking about the science behind cooking and just, different reasons why you might want to use certain ingredients or gadgets to make certain recipes. And so I kind of started down that route, and I've been doing it ever since 2016.
Okay. So even by looking at your pocket, what would you say the benefits of cooking at home would be versus going out to a restaurant every single night? Like I was saying before, that a family of four will typically spend about $7,000 or more going out to different places to eat, where about $3,500 every year would be spent in the restaurants. So what would be the benefit of actually being at home to cook?
Let me say this. Cooking sometimes can feel like it's difficult, but there is just this joy when you actually make something that tastes good and that your family likes. So for me, I think the benefits are, one is just that, the fact that cooking brings people together.
Mhm.
It gives you things to talk about. So we will talk about meals that I've made that taste really good. We'll also talk about meals that I've made that come out horrible. And there are stories that we laugh about. Another benefit is, you already said it saves money, but the other thing is it's healthier for you too, for the most part. A lot of times when we're eating out, we don't really know what is going into our foods. So a lot of times they could have, just different ingredients. Sometimes they're high in sodium. You can make healthier versions of some of your favorite foods just right at home.
Okay. Uh, All right. So, and I like the fact too, where when you cook, you know what's going inside of that. That's
Mhm.
very important because I heard of so many horror stories out there where they will add additional, just say vitamins or steroids or anything like that. And two, whenever I feel that whenever you go out to the store to buy your food, I have instances like even buying steak, and I saw on your blog where you were making air fried steak, and that's just looks so delicious. But you get to choose your own meat too, as well, so that you can make sure that you're getting that healthier portion in there.
Yeah, and then you're right. So you could choose your own cut. So like, a lot of times you don't know what the cut of the meat is. You don't know where it's processed. If you're cooking at home, like I love like grass-fed beef now. So, if you're cooking at home, you may not get that option at a restaurant. So that's definitely a benefit with cooking at home as well.
So, do you have any ideas or recipes that you could share with us today that would help us save money?
Yeah, I mean, there's different ones. For me, whenever I'm thinking of like a quick like recipe that's saving money, I think of for whatever reason I like roasting a whole chicken. So I always think of like different kinds of seasonings I could put on that and just different ways that I could utilize it. Another way you can really save money is like one pot meals. So a good example, we had a cauliflower casserole for dinner, which I used Italian sausage to bring the flavor, but I used less of that and more like cauliflower, some homemade pizza sauce and stuff like that. And
Mm.
it was not pricey and we have enough for leftovers. So whenever you're thinking of like different meals, you could definitely save a lot of money by doing a lot of one pot meals. And if you're going to do like cuts of meat, I like to do like big pork shoulders and cook those. And then you could do that in a lot of different meals as well. And beans. You can make a lot of cheap meals with different kinds of beans and using them different ways like chili, burritos, burgers, so many different options.
All right. So, whenever prepping for cooking at home, how important would you say that meal prep is with that?
It's pretty important. So the way I look at it, I look at meal planning and meal prepping a little bit differently. So I think the most important thing you can do is at least plan your meals. Even if you don't specifically say, I'm going to eat chicken tacos on Tuesday, maybe you can put tacos. Just having an idea of what you're going to do when you walk into the kitchen is going to save you so much time and so much headache. The prep part is definitely more of just taking time to actually prepare so things are kind of set up before you walk into the kitchen. And although that's important, there's different layers to it. Like I know some people that prep by cooking like a big batch of something and, portioning it out all through the week. I am not good at that. And it's okay if you're not. But what I will do is I do like a halfway of that. So I might cook like a big pot of beans and then I'll make sure I use it for a side dish one night and then I might use it in chili for another day. So I think it's important, but I think there's layers to it. You can be an extreme meal prepper or you can start out easy by like just taking baby steps to meal prepping. And I'm kind of like in between when it comes to that.
All right. So does meal? Well, I know with Keisha with meal prep, she sits down every month and she calls us all to the table and say, "Okay, what are some of the things that you want, and what are some of the things that you want?" And that way, just say if I say chicken, Elizabeth say chicken, Jesse go back and say taco. Maybe one night that we might even have a chicken taco where she may even go back and cook that whole chicken and go back and cut it up and freeze it, then bring it out during the month as well. So my question now is, so talking about the kitchen, what would you say that your favorite kitchen gadget would be?
So I have a lot. And I was thinking about this earlier. Like if I had to pick one, I'd probably have to say the air fryer, which I hate saying it because I do so many air fryer recipes. I always tell people like, I try to like get away from it, but at the end of the day, I use it a lot. And essentially it's my favorite because it does save me a lot of time. So if, and it also, my kids can use it too. So my daughter, Kelly, she is 12 and she can make a whole dinner just in the air fryer. So that's definitely one of my favorite ones because she can use it. If I'm too tired to cook, shoot, like last night, she offered to make dinner and she pretty much made half of that dinner in the air fryer because it's easy enough for her to navigate. And also the fact that I can just come home and be like, let me just throw some chicken in there with some vegetables and boom, I got dinner in like 20 minutes.
Oh yeah. Well, whenever we got our air fryer, it was by looking at some of your videos and blogs. And so and one thing that I found out that whenever you were making things in the air fryer, you made it seem simple and easy. But once I got my air fryer, I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, Keisha was like, baby, slow down. Because I was like, let's air fryer this. And I just kept throwing everything in the air fryer.
Mm-hmm.
And also another thing that you taught me actually, believe it or not, a lot of the appliances that I have in my kitchen today is because of my fork in life. Whenever you had a series of things coming from the Instapot, my first thing was like, okay, let me go get an Instapot. And Keisha's birthday was coming up. So I was like, okay, hey, baby, I'm going to have dinner. And she was like, okay, but not knowing that I was getting her an Instapot. But it was just, I mean, especially between the air fryer and the Instapot, it's like, that's all you need. Especially after we got the Instapot and the air fryer, it was about 2 or 3 months back to back. I rarely even had to cut on my stove.
Right.
And thinking about the energy that you're saving and cooking at home, how much money we were saving there, it was almost like getting a raise within itself. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely helpful. I still use my Instapot a lot as well. And that's also good for meal prepping. I do basically my Instapot is my bean making machine and my soup making machine. And I like to make beans and I'll freeze those beans too if I have a lot of them, as well as soup as well. And those are so easy to make. You kind of just throw them in there, cook them, you're good to go.
All right. It was about a year ago, and if you're here or watching this on the replay, you can jump on my channel and go back about a year or so ago, where I had the opportunity to talk to Tanya in the kitchen, and it was so amazing to be in the kitchen. And I'm not sure if you remember this, Tanya. We made like caper salad or something. I forgot what it. Well,
tuna and caper pasta salad.
Yeah. So even the aspect of just having those easy pantry meals where if you're out working for the day or if you're tired, where you just can come in and just see what you have in your pantry as well, just to pull out and see like, wow. I mean, because when we made that tuna paste,
Capers.
yeah. So you really have to trademark it because it was so great. Because not only were you able to feed your family with it, my family ate as well. So that was 8 people eating off of no more than about $3 or $4. So do you have any advice here today or anything that you want to share, even coming from the pantry, that would help save money?
Yeah, absolutely. So having a well-stocked pantry is definitely helpful. And I think there's these different definitions of like well-stocked. And sometimes people think you have to have a ton of stuff in your pantry. And it's really not about that. It's really about having those ingredients that you will eat often. So I like pasta, so I'm always going to have pasta. So that's why I had it. Tuna, I like tuna, so I had that as well. And then you can always just think of different ways to put it together. So for me, anytime I do a pasta dish, I like to make it one pot. And since it was a pantry meal, rather than chicken, I was like, hey, let's put tuna. And then I had capers for whatever reason in the house that day. But I also know, like, capers are salty. So it was like a nice little compliment to the tuna. And generally, if you've got the stuff in your pantry, you can kind of like have fun, like putting together different components of a dish, and you'll be surprised the amount of food and meals you can make with just having those staples in your pantry.
Absolutely. So Tanya, and let's take a poll in the chat too. If you could just drop the response to this question. Would you say that you prefer sweet or salty?
Salty. I like salt.
I guess since we were talking about capers, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what is one ingredient that you can't live without?
So that's hard. Um, I can't really pick one. What I can say is there's one component of ingredients that I can't live without, and that's any acid. So I kind of have to go between like vinegar or like limes and lemons, because I add any dish I make, I'm always trying to figure out an acid to add to it. I just think acids always take dishes to the next level. So anytime I eat tacos, I put lime juice on it. Anytime I make like greens, I always try to add vinegar to it. Rice, I add vinegar to rice. So it's just I like that acid tart flavor, adding it to certain dishes, except desserts. I'm not adding well, actually I add buttermilk to a lot of stuff. So I don't know. Any type of acidic ingredient is like something that I just can't live without.
All right. And is there anything else that you want to share today? Share with the community?
About meal prepping and planning?
Yes.
Yes. So, first, thank you for having me on here. Sorry about the trouble that I caused you early on with the audio. But one thing that gets me excited about meal planning and prepping is that I know initially before I started the blog, I would never know what to make or what to cook. And that's kind of where meal planning and kind of getting an idea and setting goals was where I was able to do it. And if anyone is like listening that's new to it, one thing I just want to say is like, do not get overwhelmed and don't feel like you have to, be perfect the first time you try to do it. I know that used to deter me a lot, where I would see other people that planned for an entire month, and then I would try and then I would fail and I would give up. So if you are new to meal planning and prepping, start small. Like I said, even I don't even plan for the entire month. I shop weekly and I plan weekly. And I take about 30 minutes a week to plan what we're going to eat for the week. And then I slowly prep. So I might make a double batch of beans. I might make a double batch of pork or chicken. And I would use that in like 2 recipes. And so there's that. And you could find recipes. I see what's my website. On myforkinglife.com and on all social media outlets of myforkinglife.com. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all that
All
stuff.
right. And also the myforkinglife.com and Tanya's page, YouTube page as well. You can find all of that information in the description box below as well. I'm so happy just to see people here. Today I see Asia Sierra, Joel and Christy, Stockton Productions, and Miss Pickney is here today. So there's just some amazing people here. So just want to just say thank y'all for jumping on the live stream, and also the people that's watching this in the playback. Thank you so much as well. I know that we get a lot of traffic there in the playback as well. So Tanya, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us here today on Frugal Me Live, where we talk about all things about your money. And you always have a standing invitation to come back at any time. Just let me know, and will be more than happy to have you here just to have conversation.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed being here.
Oh, and I'm just still browsing the chat here, and Sean Solo from Money Topics, he's here as well. So thank y'all so much for joining in, and join us next week as we talk about extreme couponing with Michaela, and she's known as the Coupon Genius, where she saves thousands of dollars just by going out and going out couponing, and she's going to show us how she does it as well. So I hope to see y'all back here next week. And I always make videos on ways that you can save, make money, and all things related to your finances. So if you haven't already done so, go on and click the red subscribe button below until it turns gray, and that way you don't miss anything. And again, all of Tanya's information can be found at the description box below. All right. So thank you so much, Tanya. And I hope that you have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Evening.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.